Morning, everyone. Hello, and welcome to the LovenStamps studio. I'm Meg, and I have a card to stamp with you guys today. I was laughing when I started this morning because I always kind of say, hey, everyone, or whatever. And I was doing something the other day, and one of my kids was like, Mom, you're using your YouTube voice. So anyway, I guess I have a YouTube voice, but don't we all? Maybe? I don't know, in there. Anyway, today's card is a great fall feature, but we are moving into more than just fall because we are focusing on eggnog, which I think is kind of a post-fall drink. I don't know. Raise your hand if you are an eggnog fan. I definitely am. It's one of my favorite things. And I love it because then the coconut eggnog comes out and it's so good. Anyway, we're going to use the More Than Autumn stamp set today. And hey, Kathy. And the coordinating dies. And we are finally going to use, I haven't used them yet for our projects. We're going to use that little cup and whipped cream die. So those guys there, along with some other fun pieces for another kind of Z-fold card. So this month for LovenStamps Card Tutorials, I'm featuring Z-folds. There are so many different kinds. If you haven't noticed them before, I'm really excited to highlight them and bring them to the forefront of your stamping. So, hey Dorothy, hey Sue. We are going to do an accordion Z-fold card today, which is just a little bit different. But again, if you haven't seen the other video tutorials from this month yet, accordion fold is basically a Z-fold card is basically one where when you open it, you can still see the front of your card when the card is open. So you get that fun impact from the front of your card, but then once you open it, you get to keep that impact plus add what's inside, which gives you lots of fun possibilities. And for a stamp set like More Than Autumn that has really great series greetings, like ones you would want to string together, Z-fold cards are absolutely perfect because you can read the front of the card and then you can read it together with the inside of the card, and it just makes everything come together. So for those kinds of cards where you like three panel kinds of greetings, or maybe something sort of sassy or a little sarcastic, this is a great kind of card layout. So let's see. All right, so I am going to go ahead and switch our camera over, and we are going to work on getting started here. So this is actually one of the projects that you will get in the 2 card kits that you get when your order with me is more than $50 in a month. So yay! Oh, Nikki's all excited about the Z-fold card. And hello, Christine in Australia. Wow, it's like an off time in Australia, right? Like pretty late or super early. Anyway, we are, I'm excited to put this card together because you'll get all the pieces for it when you place an order that's more than $50 in my store this month. So this is a great chance if you're like, oh, this is really fun. Now, when we do that, you're going to have your own stamps and inks. You will get all the consumables from me. But you're going to want to get this More Than Autumn stamp set if you want to make the card exactly as I'm showing it. Oh yeah, 1 a.m. Well, hey, I guess that's why we don't necessarily have a lot of Australian friends joining us on Maker Mornings with Meg. So I'm glad that we could keep you company this evening, Christine. All right, so let's talk about the scoring for this card. The scoring is best done, I think, on the Simply Scored board, because this means that all of my score lines are going to be exactly parallel with no problem. You can use your trimmer too. The trick with the trimmer is that as you go across, you just want to make sure that you're keeping the cardstock butted up against this ledge right here so that your cardstock is staying straight. And of course, you can open up the arm and then you can get all the score lines that we need. Because this card is cut from a card base the opposite direction. So this is the 11-inch direction, and it's cut to 5.5 by 11, okay? Then you're gonna take your scoring tool and you're gonna score at 1 3/4, at 3.5, at 5 1/4, and 7 inches, okay? So if you need to write that down, you can go ahead and write that down. 1 3/4, 3.5, 5 1/4, and 7. And the cardstock is 11 by 5.5. Or when you place any size order in my store this month, you get the PDF tutorials for this card. So watch for those if you're placing orders this month. All right, so then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna make this a fold. We're gonna make this the card base. So we're gonna fold it this direction, and then we're just gonna zigzag fold from there. So super easy with our fold. So this is gonna be our card base. And then we're going to start layering. Now I'm gonna set this aside for a minute and we're gonna decorate it, but let's come here to the front of our card. So I have a piece of crumb cake cardstock, and the supplies are in the video description for this. If you're watching live, the supplies for today, the supplies include the stamps and everything in the current link, but they don't include yet the colors that we're using today of the cherry cobbler ink and the crumb cake cardstock. So I'll go back and add those. So if you're watching later, it'll be there, no problem. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and take this. And the paper that I've been featuring this month is the Splendid Autumn paper. So these are absolutely gorgeous. They happen to be not in the shop right at this moment, but they will be back, so don't worry too much about that. And let me see if I can find them. They'll be back the week of September 23rd, so there's not too long to wait on those, so hang in there. And they are absolutely beautiful scenes, and we've used them for some of their fun scenes and so forth. Like on this little donut card here, Nothing's Better Than Donuts, with this center Z fold card, so this one was a fun Z like this. And we've also used them for their accents and their beautiful scenes. So like this paper here is on the edge of this Z fold card here. This is more of a traditional Z fold card with a little bit of a peekaboo edge. And then we're going to use them today on the back side, because basically this is like getting a whole pack of this really pretty, that's the insert, really pretty selection of colors here that you can use as colors. So just kind of like fancy cardstock. Hey, Taryn. So I've got 3 of them here because we're going to move on towards the holiday seasons. We're going to move a little bit past fall, hey, Inika, and into sort of our Christmassy season. So I'm going to grab some of these. I've cut this to 1.5 inches, and we're going to go ahead and layer these on here. Now, you can do this on a larger piece and then like try to like get them centered and get the borders and stuff lined up. But honestly, I think the easier choice is to go ahead and do this card. I'm looking around because I'm looking for my sample, which I'm going to have to go grab in a second. Anyway, I think the easier choice is to go ahead and make yourself a guide. And so I've got this cardstock cut to 3x3, which means that these little pieces are going to fit exactly on here. And then for our little accent, we're going to add a piece of gold foil here at this bottom corner. Now, on my sample card, when I was designing for this, I actually made that backing piece basic white. And what I found was that I was really sorry, because the basic white is really bright with these colors, and it would show through the cracks if I got my cutting just a teeny bit off or like didn't line up an edge. So pick a color for your backing paper that's gonna blend a little bit so that you don't have to work quite so hard to get everything exactly in the right spot. So let me step out of frame for a moment and grab some pieces here. All right. So now what we're gonna do is work on our focal point here. So I need some basic white cardstock because this I really do want to stand out nicely. And so we're gonna grab a piece of this here, and we're gonna do some stamping with our More Than Autumn stamp set. And I've got our Early Espresso, because the colors for this month that I'm featuring, I try to keep the supplies kind of limited so that you know that if you have all of these pieces, you'll be able to make a nice set of cards with some different variety and so forth. So I'm going to stick with Early Espresso for our background color because we're going to use some Stampin' Blends. Now, when you color with Stampin' Blends markers, these are alcohol-based markers, and so you want to use a water-based ink pad. And so the classic colors are perfect. So you can use any classic ink pad in all of the 50 or so Stampin' Up! Colors to go ahead and stamp so that you can color over it with blends. All right, so let's go here. We're gonna do sort of Christmassy, so we're gonna color here with our cherry cobbler, and I pulled the colors for our coloring from the designer series paper that we're using. So again, with the Stampin' Up! Color system, you know that you're gonna have all the pieces to go together. So this piece of designer series paper is going to match with a shade of red as our cardstock, is going to match with a shade of red as our Stampin' Blends, and is also going to match our ink. So it's a really powerful thing, especially with reds. They're so hard to match in tone and intensity, and so I find that I really love using the this Stampin' Up! Color system because things come out just really nicely matched. So, all right, I added a little dark. These markers come in pairs, and then I'm going to blend at that intersection between those two colors to give us some, there we go, to give us some shading as we go across. Now, our cocoa, would you guys like to see a little closer? Let's come in here, and there we go. All right, so what we're going to do, hello in Finland. What we're going to do is use our light copper clay here because we've used it with some of our other cards here. So we're going to keep using the same color. So what I'm trying to say is you don't have to own every single Stampin' Up! Supply in order to make a card. You can take a set of supplies and make a lot of things that are relatively different. But what I want to do is I want to add just a little bit of color to our whipped cream here. So I'm going to use my blend. This is the bullet tip as opposed to the brush tip out here because I find that I have more control with my bullet tip, and I'm just going to add a very subtle line underneath each of these stamped lines here. So I'll show you up close here in another second, but this is going to just emphasize this shading just a tiny bit, and I'm not going to worry too much about giving it more shading with the other blend. I just want that little sort of extra aspect of the sort of direction of the shadow on our little whipped cream here. And then finally, we're going to need something for the center of our card, center of our piece on this label here. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp our little gingerbread friend, and then I'm going to come back with the copper clay and color our gingerbread friend in. All right. So I do want to show you something though, because I went a little bit outside the lines on the edge of our cup here, and I want to add just a little bit of shading, but I don't want to go darker on our gingerbread man because I don't want to cover him up. And so this is the Stampin' Blends Color Lifter. There we go. So this one doesn't have any color, any pigment in it. It is just the solvent. And so what you can do with it is you can use it to soften your mistakes. They're not going to disappear entirely, but do you see here where I colored a little bit outside? There we go. I colored a little bit outside the line. I can go back and color in the middle of the air. Always fun. I can go back and soften that by adding a little bit of color lifter there along the edge. Okay. Now the other thing you can use it for is to lighten parts of your what you've already covered. So I'm going to put just a line across there, and maybe a line across here on our, it's right there, on our cup. You want to put a tiny bit on and then wait for the color lifter to develop, okay? So here's our gingerbread friend, and I'm going to take my color lifter. I'm going to put a little bit here across his center buttons and a little bit on his face, and then I'm just tapping lightly out there where his little wrists and so forth are, where the frosting is. And I'm not sure how well you guys can see, but it's starting to pull up just a little bit. It's spreading that pigment out of those areas. And so it gets a little bit lighter there where you add your color lifter. So this is kind of a fun thing to play with. And it's nice because it's just one, and you can use it with all of your Stampin' Blends, of course. So, hey, Margie. All right, so with that, let's go ahead and put our dies down. And you guys know that I love to use washi tape to make this part easy for me. And so I'm going to pop some washi tape on there. And if you're using a die over and over again, don't be afraid to just leave the washi tape on it. I do when I go, like the season's over and I'm not going to make so many peppermint cards or cocoa cards, I might go ahead and switch that, take them off to put the pieces away for the rest of the season. But honestly, it doesn't hurt anything. So. All right, we're going to run this through our die cut machine. And let's see, got a piece here. All right. So now we have our elements die cut. So now we have our cute little mug and our frosting. And then we you can see here now probably on the edge where it's definitely helped a little bit with a color lifter to pull away some of that extra color. So, all right, easiest thing to do to attach these is to hold them where you want them, flip them over, and then add a Stampin' Dimensional at that intersection to hold the pieces sort of against each other, and then they're not moving around. And then we're gonna take this and place it here on our card. Now, we need a greeting for this. Sue says, yes, you have to be patient with a color lifter to let it do its work. All right, so now I have another piece of crumb cake. And because we have all of these fun greeting selections here, we're gonna go ahead and we're going to put on the front of this, this calls for eggnog. Now, if you're not an eggnog person, you can have cocoa, you can have peppermint, you can have cider, you can have anything you want. But we're going to use this calls for greeting here and pop this here. And then we're going to use the eggnog here. This calls for eggnog. Try and get that pretty straight-ish. There we go. Now, it doesn't really matter if it's straight on our cardstock, just if the two greetings are straight against each other, because we're going to go ahead and punch this out with our label love. I can't remember the name of this. The supplies are in the video description. This one is a really great shape, though. I use it all the time, and you'll see it a lot of times on my projects. So we're going to slide this under here. And we're going to go ahead and put a piece of dimensional on the back and line this up. I like this over the cross in our grid here that we've made, just to sort of cross over that midline and keep your eye from getting stuck in certain places. And then we're going to add this here over the top. Okay, so this is going to be the focal point for our card. You could certainly, hey, Catherine in Tennessee, you could certainly use this on anything else. You could put a little clip here and make it a tag. You could just put this on a regular card front, but we have committed to our fun card here. So we're going to go ahead and keep going on our Z-fold card here, our accordion Z-fold. Oh, Kathy says my top looks like autumn. Yes, it definitely is very fallish. So what I have here is a piece of cardstock that is 3 1/4 by 6 1/2. And it's scored in the half at 3 1/4. So basically you're going to get a square here for the front of your card. And we're going to go ahead and slide this on top here. Now, if you're finding, like I am, that you have a little bit of, just a little tiny bit showing at the top of that base cardstock, you can cheat a teeny bit here and trim that away. And then no one will really notice it. Probably, honestly, no one's going to notice it anyway. But, you know, I think we are all can have a moment to be a perfectionist. Well, I don't know. Are you guys perfectionists, or are you like, oh, it's good? It's no one's going to notice that tiny little bit. I'm kind of a mix between the two. All right, so we're going to go ahead and stick this down here. And now you'll notice that I'm putting that on what seems kind of backwards, because this is going to go on the front of our card like this. And when we open our Z fold, it's going to open Z like so. Now, when I do this, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, I wish the background of our card had just a little bit more going on. So if you want to, you could, of course, like pop on a big piece of designer series paper here. I'm going to not do that though. I'm going to do some stamping in the background, because our More Than Autumn stamp set has all of these fun little greetings here. And so I'm going to go ahead and pull this gingerbread friend, and we are going to stamp well, you know what? Let's just go stamp the whole background here. On my sample, I'll show you, I stamped just part of the background, and you'll see that here at the end. But let's go ahead and just do some stamping. So I'm going to grab my ink, and we can kind of talk about this as we're stamping. Oh, great. I missed the edge there. Okay. Now, when you are doing this, you want to ink your stamp each time. You want to rotate your stamp, and you want to think in triangles. So as I'm going across here, I am looking at the two closest gingerbread friends, and then I'm putting another one at the end to make a triangle. So now like 1, 2, 3, and then I probably won't put one down here because I can't really make a triangle. If I put it here, it's going to be in a straight line, so that is not a place to put one. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You guys see what I'm doing here? I'm kind of like showing you the 2 and then the third that I'm putting on. And each time I'm trying to make sure that my gingerbread friends, here we'll go here, don't line up like this. This is what I'm trying to avoid, to have them in this exact same orientation. Now, that one little lineup isn't egregious or anything. So let's see, 1, 2, if I put one down here, it's going to be pretty close to a straight line, so I'm not going to put one here. Oh, Kathy says perfectionist. Yeah, I do feel that. So, all right, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And as I'm doing this, I'm trying not to make the same direction of our gingerbread friend as either of the 2 that I am working against. Does that make sense? So I know sometimes people have trouble stamping randomly. So honestly, this is clearly not random because it's very fairly structured, but you get the idea. We want this to look like it's cut out of a larger piece of paper. And so we're going to kind of, there we go. Okay, so I feel like we have accomplished our task. We understood the question. Oh, Bonnie's watching at work. I'm not telling Bonnie. All right, so now we have our gingerbread friends all stamped. And when we put our red cardstock back on here, this is a much better fit, right? Because we have a little bit of pattern in the background to match a lot of pattern here on the front of our card. So now I'm going to go ahead and take this and we're going to attach. I'm going to put adhesive just at the outside edges here of our panel, okay? And then I don't really care whether our card opens entirely flat. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and slide this here towards the center. And I am putting this so it's centered left and right here. So I have the same border, top, bottom, left, right. And I've got all of those panels. See how that works? All 3 of these zigzags folded into our accordion here. Okay, like this. All right, so give that a second to grab, and then you can see how that has come together. All right, so I feel like we still need an embellishment for the front of our card, a bling section, if you will. This gold is nice, but we need more. So I'm going to bring in this really pretty ribbon, this cherry and cobbler and gold ribbon. It is just very nice to touch. The gold is on both sides, and it's a really nice lightweight ribbon. So I'm just going to fold a little knot into it here, like that, and go ahead and cut an end. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to pop this here on our tag to just emphasize it a little bit, okay? And to attach ribbon like this, my hands down favorite is mini glue dots, of which I grab a little glue dot and fold it up kind of like a burrito so that it's a little bit of a tube, and then pop this here onto our card, okay? So there is our card front. And we have this fun little bow here. Now we need to get the inside of our card done. Oh my gosh, Sue, you haven't made one of these? You definitely need to try it out. They're really pretty simple. Not a difficult card for sure. All right, so the inside of our card, we're gonna finish our greeting. So this calls for eggnog. And then I put a lot of time into this. I was trying to decide what else to do inside because we have these 3 panels. So I really wanted to use this except maybe you thing. Like this calls for eggnog. This could be a birthday card or a celebration card or a birthday card or whatever you want. So it's a thinking of you and fun and like you're a special person. So let's celebrate. So I like this idea. We're going to say this calls for eggnog, and then nothing's better than eggnog except maybe you. Okay, so there's no end to how you can use these. You can, of course, cut them up. So if you wanted to just say love you, you could stamp just the words love you, or you could stamp them and cut them out so you don't have more than. You can have grateful as a single word. You can have all kinds of fun possibilities. So don't be there. This is a really fun stamp set for mixing and matching all of those words. All right, so let's bring in, we're gonna have a center piece here, and we're gonna have another piece here that we're gonna punch. So let's get our Nothing's Better Than, oops, it's upside down, although I guess it doesn't matter that much. And then Nothing's Better Than Eggnog. And then we're gonna punch this here, which just fits, which is perfect. And I'm gonna try and get that straight in there. And then I feel like it needs a little decoration, so I'm gonna add a gingerbread friend here, since he's on a lot of our other pieces. We're repeating our gingerbread element, so Nothing's Better Than Eggnog. And then on here, we're gonna say, except maybe you. And I want this one to stand out, so I'm gonna go ahead and stamp it in Cherry Cobbler instead of the, oh, that's kind of crooked. We'll flip it over, we get to try again. There we go, a little happier. We're gonna make it in Cherry Cobbler, and we're gonna add this little heart at the bottom because we have it, right? There's a little heart right here. Now, if you wanted to, you could put hearts in the background here. Actually, that's kind of fun. So let's, we're gonna add some hearts to the background, but I'm only gonna add them in this part right here that's hidden when our card is closed. So they're kind of like a bonus surprise. There we go. All right, so now we have our except maybe you part, and then I realized I didn't cut a piece of cardstock to go on the inside. So when I do this part, I really like to use another 3 1/4 inch piece of cardstock as a layer, and that way it connects this panels here and makes these 3 panels look like they are all connected together. See how that works? Okay, so let's talk about placing this final panel, because this one, you don't want to give away your secret before someone opens your card. So we're going to go ahead and set this here, and I'm going to put some adhesive on the back. And when I go to put this in, what I'm going to do is hold it here. I'm going to line it up against the back of our card, okay, so against this piece here, because then when I fold this down, it's going to pop it in where it is hidden. And then I'm just going to open it and make sure that it's straight in the way that I want it to be. Okay, so top to bottom, it's clearly going to be in the right place, but then you want to just do some fine tuning adjustment there. So now we have our card. This calls for eggnog. Nothing's better than eggnog, except maybe you. Kind of a fun idea, right? I am kind of a big fan of this card layout. So here's the accordion from the top. Here's sort of a side view, the bottom, and it just has this really fun mechanism where it very much accordions open and closed because of that extra set of scores that we put in there. Sorry, I'm just having fun distracting myself. So papers for this one, still from Splendid Autumn, which is our feature this month, and then stamps and so forth from More Than Autumn. Now, you could make this card in lots and lots of versions. Sue's saying bling. Yes, if you want to add bling, the faux glass dots certainly are a perfect match for these. You could pop some of these on here. Those greenwoods would be really fun. I'm gonna leave the bling off for the moment, Sue. I know, crazy talk, right? You never know. Maybe you come back and the pictures on the blog of this card will have the bling on them. But I'm pretty happy with the gold as we've got it. So lots of opportunities to use this same card layout, change up your colors and use for different seasons, or keep the colors exactly the same, and maybe peppermint cocoa is your thing, or hot cocoa, or maybe apple cider is your thing. So lots of good possibilities for putting these stamps to work, and the dies that coordinate with them. The dies actually have a whole bunch more options. You can see my washi tape tucked in here. These are the donut dies and the pie dies, but there are also word dies in here. Cocoa, pumpkin, apple, fall, spice, season, nothing's better than, latte, coffee. So lots of good possibilities in here to extend what's included in the stamp set. So they are a lot of fun to work with. All right, so let me show you all of the cards. So we have 3 of the 4 cards that I've shown you now, all Z folds for this month. We have today's card. We have our Nothing's Better Than Donuts Z fold card here with that center Z fold. And we have our pumpkin, You Had Me at Pumpkin, spice, cider, autumn kind of fun card here. So all occasions also, you can write any greeting in here. So lots of fun possibilities for the same suite of supplies. If you want to learn more about LovenStamps tutorials, you can learn more about that LovenStamps Card Kits to go and Perks Points on my LovenStamps website. Under the clubs tab, there are going to be a bunch of choices to learn about different clubs that I offer and different opportunities to stamp together and get things in the mail. Leanne was excited. She commented about getting her papers soon. Oh, and I was going to promise to show you on our card here. So this is the one where we stamped together and we added the gingerbread to all of the panels. I'm kind of partial to that. Here's one that I stamped earlier, and I didn't add the gingerbread to all the panels. I only added it to the front and the back. So it kind of, I don't know, it's kind of nice. It kind of sets those panels aside. I think either way works, honestly. Hey, Mary Ellen. All right, so let me know what you guys think. If you have a strong opinion, I feel like it works both directions, but lots of good possibilities for the stamp set. So that's us on this Thursday. It is Thursday, got to think that through. On this Thursday, hope you guys have fun things planned for your weekend. So I have to say happy pre-Friday to you, as we like to say here on Maker Mornings with Meg, because I'll be back next week on Tuesday with another card tutorial for you. So I hope you guys have a fun weekend set up. It's homecoming at our local high school here, so we have all kinds of fun homecoming celebrations, parade yesterday, football game tomorrow, all kinds of excitement. So anyway, oh, Cindy says she loves the gingerbread on all the panels. Yeah, I kind of like it. I would put that there. And actually, I would add those hearts again on the inside. I like that extra accent there where we added to our cards that way too. So lots of fun possibilities for this one. Well, thank you guys for joining me this morning. Hope you have a fabulous day and a great weekend. Hope you have a chance to sit down and make some cards and to send those cards, share them with people who are important to you, or people who like you just casually see. You know, card giving occasions don't have to be like super huge and momentous. They can be like, hey, you know, I have this little note that is in my purse and thought you might like it. And, you know, thanks for helping me find the cauliflower or whatever. So anyway, hope you guys are having a great day so far, and I will bid you adieu and see you back on Tuesday. So thanks everybody for tuning in, and thanks everybody for the replays. Happy stamping.